predicted. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
But Vicky, where are you on this one?
All right, I know I'm wearing a Spitfire jersey and you guys just hyped it up, but my organs, I guess, like Jake said, is telling me that based off of what we've seen in the bracket thus far, Punk's flexibility is crazy, man. I think these guys are going to adapt on the fly.
Get up for a team. You're not on a team, Vicky. Come on.
Take off that jersey. You don't deserve it.
Let's change us.
Listen, I would be wearing Vancouver merch also, but I don't have any. They didn't.
What's going on?
That is this like paper Vancouver logo that I'll put somewhere at some point.
Shock.
But we do have Spitfire winning. I think this is our bracket. That is our bracket. I can read that.
I mean, it's not our fault that the Shock went into Crimso's dumpster, all right? So it has nothing to do with it. Don't throw that whole thing out the window. The script writes itself. I still think that this is a very difficult match to predict, though, man. Anything could go wrong for either team. It really does depend on the flexibility on how to deal with the Reinhardt composition that the Spitfire are the only ones that have been able to nail down. I mean, thanks to Chatty, of course, and the synergy that this team has been able to build up over the past few years.
All right, Desk, I have like a question. Tell me at some point where I put this if they win. I'm realizing now that it's getting green screened.
Forehead, forehead, on your forehead.
This is the stencil
On your forehead.
for your face tat.
You could just put it on the hat. Over
Here,
the
I'll put it here for now.
Yeah.
On top of London. If they win,
my forehead.
Okay, all right, there you go.
Just so you guys know, this is what happens, by the way, when teams don't give the casters merch. I'm sorry, like, this is a power-up that just happens on the broadcast. You gotta write your own narratives out here. We're the ones that help bridge that together between the teams and the audience watching at home. First off, I'm so happy to be back alongside my girl, Necra. It's been a bit, you know? I took a little trip to Ilios. It looks like I'm going right back there because
Hey, wait
Titans, I mean, I just came from there. It looks exactly like that, by the way. Beautiful place. But Titans will be taking us to Ilios first, Necra.
This is Titans pick. Makes a lot of sense for them, especially when you know how much flexibility they have to play around. They're going to be going over to maps that might not suit the Reinhardt rush nearly as much. And Ilios is a classic dive map, so it makes some sense. They might even want to bring out the Orisa here. It's also been so strong for that hero just to be able to hold the front line. And there's also some really nice flank angles that somebody like Sugar Free could take on either the Genji or the Tracer. But I'm right there with you, Vicky, to go back to our initial conversation about how this match could go. The desk being split says a lot about how close this match can be. It's about whether or not London Spitfire can hit that skill ceiling for this Reinhardt composition, and if that's going to be enough to outsmart the Titans, who showed a ton of versatility as well as adaptability in their match yesterday versus the San Francisco Shock.
Let's highlight that too. The spotlight where Titans can beat Titan after picking up similar strats from Washington, rather Titans beating London after similar strats from Washington and Boston. Let's not waste any more time. That adaptability and that flexibility is already being shown right now through Punk being on this Doomfist.
Doomfist is just one of 4 heroes that Punk has showed the propensity to be able to play during the play-ins in this patch. And so Doomfist is going to make this really tricky because you're able to disrupt a lot of this pressure coming through from London, especially when you know that Admiral's on the Lucio to help speed you around. That Doomfist can be so disruptive, especially if you're able to land onto someone that's super squishy on the London Spitfire's backline.
And that's to say, if they can nail you down too, with this Sim TP trying to harass the backline right here, Really saw that Faith was able to get away. Backbone gets hit with an anti over on the other side, but a nice immortality field to help restabilize London here. Titans also falling low themselves before Punk tries to isolate Hadi, but Backbone going crazy, being able to start off this fight with a 2K, opening up London for success off the rip.
We talk about the disruption coming through from the Doomfist, but you also called out that teleporter, which can be such a strong way for London to kite around that Doomfist damage. And the other thing about this composition that London like to run is that Symmetra is super tricky to nail down. I mean, Sugar Free on the Genji just not able to deflect any of that beam damage. And that was one of the things that Sugar Free was able to get away with yesterday, is being able to just send all of that damage right back to them. London doesn't really run a whole lot of that though.
And getting the first pick too on top of that without even having to burn through your window right here. Titans now having to navigate away as London, they are teleporting all the way around town over to the left side of the well. Crimzo does have that nano boost here, and Sparker is just waiting to look right through that window. Tosses a let's go grenade real quick just to get some extra damage in before Titans now re-engage with that nano boost. Sugar Free is about to get the blade in with Faith. Finding Hottie, he could honestly hold on to it here with London backing away in time. Photon Barrier was called in, and they get the trade and find Punk. Sang had that duplicate already, gets booted right out of it. Adro kiting away right alongside Sparker. From the skies comes Faith, hailing as he finds Sparker. Back and forth with London still having, though, the contention on the point, getting some extra credit for Hottie as to meet up with the rest of the team right back to the spawn.
Oh my goodness, London Spitfire got away with so many kills there. Faith is gonna go back to the spawn, just be able to taxi Crimzo back out so that the support lineup can be there for the Vancouver Titans when the London Spitfire are moving back in. But that was a very expensive fight for both sides. Good news is that Titans were able to hold on to that Dragon Blade. You called out the Nano to be able to help Sugar Free get that online. And it was really nice that they had that patience and awareness to keep it when they knew that they didn't need it anymore. But they're gonna need it now, and Admiral's gonna need the sound barrier for that.
I'm gonna call Hottie Mr. Worldwide with some help with that Sim TP, the sound barrier from Faith here, and the push from Punk. Sugar Free still holding on to that blade as Hottie with the pin from left field, finding Crimzo. Beautiful looks as London Spitfire still trying to inch their way to claim this point. Meanwhile, on the other side is still Sparker, getting this split awareness, forcing the Vancouver Titans to look in two directions like a chameleon.
That's the beauty of having something like the Bastion. Even the Symmetro, you can take these off flanks, and this is one of the adaptations that we're seeing London Spitfire take with this composition. Especially when Sparker, like, who's gonna actually be able to reach him? You're gonna send Sugar Free after him? After the deflect is down, he's gonna get chunked super quickly. It's just not easy for Vancouver Titans to approach that Bastion, and that is a huge source of DPS for the London Spitfire.
Such a good point, especially with the positioning that Spitfire are currently set up for. Look at Hottie's got that shatter, unleashes it, still is able to find the pin. Punk, though, in the back right before that shatter came out, was able to find Sparker. Sugar Free had used the blade earlier on. Now gonna be able to clean up what is left thanks to Heesang with the focusing beam, and it is a wipe here for the Titans, and they needed it. 99% still in favor for the London Spitfire.
That was a beautiful blade. Those are nano blades. Those are just blades in general that we expect to see from Sugar Free. He had to hold on to it for quite a long time, just not finding the perfect opportunity to be able to weave that in, but Punk was the perfect trade for that. If you're focusing down on Punk, then all of a sudden Sugar Free can go after your backline when Hottie's shield is no longer a part of the equation. We're starting to work up to a final fight territory to still have a couple of ultimates left in the bank, but how can London Spitfire play Disruption now when you've got the Mortar Strike online here from the Bastion?
Also have that window too called in from landing, at least clearing some space while Crimzo is in a nice spot here. Comes the nano boost. Sugar Free dry tries to catch Admiral right before going right through that TP here too. The anti did hit Admiral, but they've lost out on Landon. Curly calling in the artillery here. He's gonna be able to boot Heesang out of the duplicate, but Sugar Free is the problem right now with Punk trying to chase after the Spitfire, backing away, avoids the pin by some mere pixels. And now it's gonna have to be a reset for the Spitfire to engage in this final fight.
They can reset as a full team of 5 before the Titans approach that 99%, but now it's about what they used here. Photon Barrier to be able to re-engage, and Titans now have to work up to the Sound Barrier and a second Dragon Blade.
Admiral does have that sound barrier online, overtime ticking away, and like you mentioned, Faith is about to near that with his own barrier. London Spitfire have control over the point here first. Hottie having to be careful. Again, it's the double sound barrier, but Faith uses his first. Ooh, that was a little scary. Almost didn't catch Landon. Tad of elevating himself up in the air. Still having to be careful as Hottie swings the hammer around. It's a trade for trade. Looking out on both Crimzo and Hottie. Punk is going to meet Crimzo right back in the spawn room doors, but Sugar Free from right behind them goes in with the blade, the immortality field, doing just enough to secure the point and negate the blade. Sparker at the very end was the problem.
What a great example of how London Spitfire plays around the Symmetric Teleporter.
Yeah.
It blows my mind every single time. No, backbone. Oh, did you see that? Remember the point. Oh my god, the mental warfare has already started. And it's just point number 1, Vicky.
They're already dead. You don't have to do it again like this. Shocker aren't here anymore. It's okay.
Oh my god.
Well, remember the point.
Yeah, remember the point, remember the teleporter. Both of those things, even if you do remember them, might not actually help you out in this match, just because of how well London Spitfire do play around that particular cooldown. Like, you saw the blade get popped from Sugar Free, and all of a sudden there just wasn't a target anymore. There's super smart play there coming through just to be able to clean up those final moments, but now we're going to see yet another look come out here from the Titans, as he's saying is going to play a Bastion of his own, and it's going to be Punk on the Orisa this time. What flexibility from the Titans.
Again, seeing it constantly here from this team. Mortality had already been used up from Crimzo. Same could be said now about Landon. Backbone just trying to get set up here. Talk about these CPs that have been crucial, and look at the way that London Spitfire tries to utilize that to their advantage with this repositioning, whether it be as a full unit or spread out. Finding Sugar Free now as that next pick here for the Titans is going to force them to reset, but this also allows London Spitfire to get set up with Backbone, setting up those turrets with the Sim.
Those turrets are so nice as well because it slows down that mobility as the Titans move in, and not only that, but you're forcing out some of that healing output as well as just resources to be able to actually keep yourself alive. Like, London Spitfire are kiting them back so they take as much damage as possible as the Titans start to make in. And you got the amplification matrix too. They're walking right into that.
Turret's also dealing a good amount of pressure right through the window into the loving arms of Sparker and his nade, finding Keysing. Saw Admiral utilize that sound barrier just so that way London Spitfire could keep on this domination on the point while Titans just try to spread out just a little bit, isolating Punk here as he activates a Terror Surge. Crimzo comes scooping in, finding Hottie, and Admiral does cost Punk's life here. Will Backbone still set up on the point? It's the problem before overextending just a little tad too much, as he's saying, coming right back from the spawn, he's able to find Backbone, and now Titans get to find and flip this point.
Nice stall coming through from the Spitfire. They do have to invest that Bastion ultimate onto the point just to keep the Titans at bay for a couple percentage longer. But Titans on the flip side too, like, they lost the Terra Surge. They had to invest the Amplification Matrix to even engage in that final fight. But the biggest thing for them is they also have the Dragon Blade. That has just been fight finisher after fight finisher coming through from Sugar Free. So let's see how much he's able to get done this time around, especially if you can see him trying to set up on that flank.
Oh yeah, especially with that flank route that he's been taking so far. But again, it's those turrets that he also has to think about. The communication from Titans to see how Heesang wants to approach right down through this barrier. Now calling in, and Sugar Free activates the blade. Faith with a sound barrier to put him into position, but Backbone stays being the problem. And then the TP comes in too to help him reposition, to help the rest of London Spitfire kind of away with some help with Admiral here too. The artillery is able to find Sparker some revenge. Sweet, sweet revenge here. Titans, though, lose out on Crimzo and the number advantage. Although for right now, it is London Spitfire. Hottie's still alive. Now is going to be able to find Faith at the very end, and they reclaim the point.
Reclaim the point, and Hottie has the Earth Shatter. That was solo invested into Punk in that very first round, and if you do get the Orisa down, that's just a significant frontline force that you can take out. Does mean that you still have the DPS online, but Hottie's just getting lined up for this. There's not many ways that Titans can block this. They don't have a shield online. So someone's going to be falling on their back if Hottie has anything to say about it.
Oh, look at his position here too, with the TP right behind him. Goes for a flank TV. Oh no, London Spitfire sandwiching the Titans. The Terror Surge completely gets shut down by Punk as he tries to answer back. Meanwhile, in front of their faces, it's the shooting range for Sparker. He claims 3 heads, and with an amazing final play with the TP into the Shatter, London Spitfire clear out the Vancouver Titans.
And that is concerning if you're a Vancouver Titans fan. This was their pick. They chose Ilios to try to negate the pressure and the power of this Reinhardt Rush composition that only the London Spitfire can run. And the fact that London showed up and 2-0'd them? Oh boy. I really hope they have something else up their sleeve to be able to come back into the series for this next map.
Necro, and that's also using that Lucio, Genji, Bastion, Bap, poking type composition that we saw from Washington and Boston, and gets shut down again. It's the positioning, the communication, and timing of these TPs that London has been able to take advantage of than any other team. Taking a look at some of these highlights here, Hadi with the pin from a mile away. Crimson looking to the skies, not knowing that there is danger hurtling in his direction before we also saw this push of Sugar Free. But the Immortality came in clutch, correct, Necker, right there. We saw Sugar Free get shut down and Sparker being the nail in the coffin.
It's just been constantly so fun to watch how the London Spitfire evolve their usage of this composition. Admiral having a great time with the Lucio boops, Hadi being able to land Earth Shatter after Earth Shatter. They didn't always work out, but it's always a treat to watch how this Symmetric Teleporter is used reactively to be able to skirt around this Titan's damage. Now though, the Titans, they're gonna pick Midtown to take us to our next map, and if they've shown us anything in their series versus the San Francisco Shock, it is that they have the ability to continue to make adjustments throughout the series. So if they can prolong it, Vicky, that just might be the key to success for them.
Yeah, have been adjusting to unique comps really, really well. Even being able to see what Boston Uprising had to bring to the table to beat this Ryan comp. Love what we're seeing so far for the London Spitfire, though, taking map number 1 on Ilios. Can they do it again on map 2 as we move on to Hybrid? Well, we're gonna have to see at the other side of this break. It'd definitely be spinning right now after that first game. Domination onto Ilios. Ready. We are absolutely going to rebuild our legacy. I love the drawing. I love the energy. That's honestly how I'm feeling right now at home. Watching these guys and their TP strats have to put an emphasis to Hottie being an insane playmaker, but you could see, Necra, the cohesion and the reaction all together from this team with Hottie kind of leading the way for everybody else.
I love that this graphic makes him look so perfectly mid also. He's got 5 eliminations and 5 deaths. The true sign that he is like the most mid Reinhardt in the world. Oh, it's so funny. No, but in all seriousness, no, that like Hottie is the Reinhardt king. He is the chatty. He is the Chad Dizzle. He is him. And every single time he swings that hammer, he is doing something so impactful, whether it's actually doing damage or even just like kiting somebody into the loving arms of Sparker or Backbone. Like, because you kind of don't want to be in his face either.
Yeah, it's also just the energy, too, that he brings. I feel like every single time we take a look at Hottie after a really intense play, you can see it's one or the both. It's either he's like just stone cold, just straight up like another day at work, or he's laughing with the rest of his team. And those are the vibes that we love to see on a team like the London Spitfire. We are moving on to Midtown, though, as this is the Titans pick, which brings the question. I'm scared here. You saw those TP strats. London Spitfire are not going to have an issue TPing around Midtown to get through these chokes. That could be a little strange to get through, especially underneath that train cart to get that payload moving. I'm wondering how Midtown could play into the strength of the Vancouver Titans versus London Spitfire that could easily break around this choice boycotting Sparker.
Sparker said he hadn't watched Overwatch League before joining the actual league. That's really funny. Listen, the man's got one thing on his mind, and that's winning and playing the game. I respect that. And the game has been good so far. So I don't think we can boycott Sparker that much. Maybe a little bit. I feel like the team might give him something. This team really is all smiles, and they're all fun. And I feel like you can see that every single time they come out of the gates with this Reinhardt comp. They struggled for a long time this season, especially during the first half of the season where they didn't really have their footing. We were playing in a dive meta. It just wasn't something that felt super up their wheelhouse, and they really struggled to get it going. But now that they found this Reinhardt composition, I feel like it has opened up so many doors of possibilities for them. And it really is giving the Vancouver Titans a lot of trouble.
Wow.
How is he staying over there?
Wow, all through that TP too. Again, it's these TP plays from Backbone. What I also really liked is that they took their time, waited on the TP inside that side room, set up with the turrets in case anybody from Titans wanted to contest them. And these are the rotations that I'm not surprised to see from Spitfire here, especially when you take them to Midtown. There's so many different angles that they could take, as Punk is going to be able to inch forward to at least contest the points, prevent the London Spitfire from speedrunning this payload out of the garage, but still has been able to find Punk. They have the number advantage. It's only up to Faith here before meeting with the rest of the Titans, and wow, just as quick, are able to already get that payload out of the garage and move forward, clearing some extra space.
Oh no, he got staggered again. Like, that was such an easy pickoff for the London Spitfire to target down when they moved into that first point. And then they caught him again, trying to get back into the fray. This happened yesterday as well. Vancouver Titans didn't always get punished for this, but Hisang was the first picked in so many fights versus the San Francisco Shock. And when you're missing such a key source of damage, Vancouver Titans don't necessarily have a choice except to try to play this out 4v5. But Hisang is back, and he is making a splash.
Oh wow, that immortality there too, but unfortunately that immortality was inches away from Hottie. Doesn't help him out, but Backbone coming in right behind Sparker, who loses himself to Sugar Free. Titans have a plethora of ultimates to work with in this next engagement, so then stalling out Spitfire here in this position, specifically holding the high ground, is a great look here for the Titans, for Hottie has already moved his way right back to the garage. Okay.
Okay, well, you know what? He's saying he's making up for it. I will always stand corrected. This is a great look now for Vancouver Titans, and one of the reasons you might even just come over to Midtown anyway, and why we can't write Vancouver Titans out of this series, is because they are so good playing attack and defense. And now that they've got control of this high ground, this is where the point that you made before, Vicky, really starts to become relevant, which is that these teleporters can start to get a little bit more predictive. Vancouver Titans kind of know that there's really only a few areas where London Spitfire might want to use his teleporter to try to close the gap.
Oh, but with the blade gets shut down thanks to Admiral having the sound barrier immediately right afterwards. Not going to be able to find these individual pigs off of Spitfire, which then completely shuts down the Vancouver Titans win con that they wanted to really go for, while now Punk drops from the high ground, uses the Terror Surge, and then uses Fade's sound barrier right after Spitfire had used theirs. The Shatter, though, trying to isolate Crimzo. We get some trades going here, but the Spitfire at a number disadvantage. You can see Sparker just trying to run away here, too, before getting called out alongside Admiral, but it's another team fight win in favor for the Titans.
That was such an ultimate disadvantage for London Spitfire, too. You could see what they were going for. Some type of hero play with the Earth Shatter from Hottie, trying to wait for that sound barrier from Faith to expire. There was a window of opportunity there for London. And the fact that they tried it and didn't work, it's kind of okay. They still have 3 minutes on the clock to be able to work up to another full slate of ultimates. And your hope here, if you're London, is to try to either get a quick pick and just sink this payload over that second point, or you start to get more ultimates out of the Titans bank, like this Amp Matrix as well as Heesang's ult.
See with the way the Admiral is scooting through. Oh, almost was able to get helped by that Immortality field. Even maybe wanted to reposition with the TP here. Punk being able to find Admiral, as Faith is also going to get that next trade here. Backbone going down. It's another team fight win in favor for the Titans. Punk taking a really nice aggressive position just to allow the rest of the Titans to clear up the backside of Spitfire.
Oh, Landon's getting so staggered. Nobody on Titans wants to kill him. And Landon doesn't want to use the Immortality field either until he feels like he can actually get away, and he can't. That's going to be so much time off of the bank now that London Spitfire have to work with. What a smart stagger for the Vancouver Titans to have that play. And they didn't even have to invest anything else outside of the amplification matrix. So they're still sitting at a very healthy ultimate advantage versus London, who still have to work up to quite a bit of percentage there. And now that London is back, there's another attempt that can be made. This time, we're going to see London Spitfire try to kite around the Vancouver Titans as they use that teleporter to get back in. And that teleporter is a 10-second cooldown. They'll have another one online as they start to wait this out. Admiral tries to sneak that payload a little bit more forward.
So they're playing so methodical too, in case they need to reposition, just waits for that TP that's going to come online already probably. See those ultimates, and with the nade, Sparker gets hit, taken out. Admiral's going to meet him. Spitfire will have a good amount of ultimates to also contest the Titans, as the Titans already have a full slate of theirs. Started on silver platter for them to work with here, but it's for that final fight that Spitfire are going to desperately try to push through, as they've been able to isolate Landon again. Tries to get away in time right behind Hottie's shield, but the same cannot be said about Backbone. The artillery from Heesang, as Spitfire were funneled into that side room, cost his life. The windup does get called in, and here comes the Terror Surge. Everybody from the Spitfire get pulled in, roped into Punk's loving arms. It did cost a good amount of ultimates though here in Necro, so Spitfire have some answers back aside from the window.
They do, but critically, they don't have the sound barrier online right now, and Titans are going to try to play this aggressive. Sugar Free has the Dragon Blade online. This would be a way to just completely shut this down.
But Audie with the Shatter and the follow-up from Sparker here to try to shut down the Titans. Aggressive approach and opening with the Blade. Sugar Free trying to get right back. 5 seconds for the Spitfire to get this payload into that second checkpoint, and trying to desperately hold forward here before Heesang rolls out too.
No, they can't contest this. Titans don't have a chance to, because that Sparker ultimate is online. They could have just layered that onto the card if they wanted to, and then people would get staggered. Sadly, Punk is going to get isolated here as well. Sugar Free is still behind them, and now you're missing that crucial front line. So Vancouver Titans have to back up from this one, wait for Punk to respawn, and all the while, London Spitfire are going to keep making this space, especially now that Sugar Free is also going to get caught.
Sugar Free was just a mosquito. Just a mosquito, with Hottie just swinging around the fly swatter real quick, having to deal with Sugar Free, who was separated from the rest of this team. And now you got less than a minute to that limited time bank that Spitfire had to work with after finally getting that second choke point here in Necro.
One more team fight, though. Vancouver Titans can do this. They got the amplification matrix to just push the London Spitfire back, but it's all about the follow-up here. He's going to have another ultimate online, and Faith is going to have to quickly work up this sound barrier to give Titans the best chance at holding the London Spitfire off of this third and final point.
Less than 30 seconds here on the clock. The window has been able to find some space while the Titans are holding two different split positions. Hadi backing away right through this choke. Timer counting down now. Less than 15 while Punk holding a really nice position, was about to get the Terror Search. Here comes a Photon Barrier just to split up the Titans for right now. The window, the Immortality that was also used up, the Terror Surge coming in. He's saying he's literally won in this situation here too. We get some trades with a number advantage. Still in favor for the Titans. Here comes a Sound Barrier, and that's going to be the nail in the coffin while Sugar Free is cleaning up on aisle 3.
Beautiful stuff from the Titans. Such a great cycle of ultimates from them as well. They know when to push the gas and they know when to take their foot off. Very good too that they were able to get the sound barrier online. It's just a really nice way to have that insurance policy to stop the London Spitfire. And a huge credit to them as well for whittling down like a 4-minute time bank on that second point. That was looking rough for the London Spitfire to get through.
Imagine if Sugar Free had gotten a pick, though, in that very aggressive attack from Titans right around the corner from the London Spitfire spawn room doors. That could have been detrimental there, but still was able to hold them back here. London Spitfire still was able to get some extra progress on that part. Still seeing the different angles, though, that they could work with that Sim TP.
Well, playing far forward when the Sugar-Free Blade is online, it's risky, but it's always a great risk to take. You're gonna have to make those types of plays in this matchup when things are just so close. Like, Heesang has died less, even though he has a little bit less hero damage and he did get picked off a few times. He is still able to make up for that based on how much he was able to work with the entire team. So yeah, like, sometimes you get a little isolated, but Heesang has always played this more like high-risk, high-reward style. If he's on this flank, maybe he does play his bait a little bit, or he's able to get away with it and he gets away with murder. So two different looks in the equation. Sparker is going to attempt to get some damage down onto the Titans, but they do play around that quite smart.
Well, looking right back towards my nostalgia days, 1 for 2, just shooting that nuke 2 right through that choke real quick to get some extra damage roll. It's London Spitfire holding back, playing around this next choke with the Sim. Turret set up. The TP has already been called in from each side of the fire truck. Vancouver Titans playing this a lot more slower, though. Having to see where Fate's positioning is, taxing along Punk, but just essentially playing around this fire truck with none of these teams trying to commit just yet before they try to go in. With that first pick, the isolation from Sugar Free. Doom going in with the dash. Sparker's still the problem that has not been fixated, though. Sugar Free goes in with the dash and with the reset and some help from Faith. He's also able to find and clear out Sparker. Nice start here for the Vancouver Titans to flip the switch and get some progress going real quick.
You can already see the adjustment that the Titans are making in this matchup. What they were falling victim to in that first map was London Spitfire being able to play much more reactively with the teleporter than what Vancouver Titans had follow-up for. So if they popped the blade, then London Spitfire had the teleporter just be able to get away from that damage and increase that distance that Sugar Free would be able to get those dash resets. But now, Titans have gotten so much better at trying to bait out the teleporter and still being able to find a pick along the way so that they don't just fall to a bastion behind them. Let's see if the Titans can keep this up, though, because just like the Spitfire, this is almost a 5-minute time bank that they have to work with now to get through the second point.
And has given London Spitfire so much time to set up on that high ground here, too. Looking at the way they were able to respawn and then get set up here on the high ground. You see those turrets off to the right side of Hadi. Landon's got that window that he could also use to clear up some space before that fire truck gets right through the car wash, but backing away. See, that Sugar Free has that blade ready. The window called in from Crimzo. Sparker comes in with the artillery, just clearing some space right behind the car as Crimzo is able to just navigate through that just as quick. And with that photon barrier, that's going to be the engagement from the London Spitfire. Sugar Free gets shut down, even with the sound barrier from Faith getting too close to the fire. The fire truck isn't going to be able to put that down. The Terror Surge, with some help from Landon, though, in the Immortality field, helps up the London Spitfire navigate their way right through that Terror Surge, up and alive and healthy. And with this pin, hasta la vista to Heesang, and London Spitfire on this defense. And with that setup, get to hold them back in this team fight.
While Sugar Free got taken down, it was with the Dragon Blade in the pocket, so you still have that ultimate to be able to come into this one, and Admiral just uses Sound Barrier. So there aren't too many tools that the London Spitfire have at their disposal to easily deal with that blade. So you're relying on Landon's Immortality Field and also this Symmetra Teleporter from Backbone to once again cut away from that damage.
Also scary to see here too, seeing Hadi get picked out. Saw some help from Sugar Free there, who's still holding on to that blade. With Hadi being the one picked out, those Spitfire. It's a lot slower from that high ground. He's going to be able to come in with the Shatter. Sugar Free misses out on the dash. Gets pushed away. Can't close the gap right here. There's another one as he swings around the blade. Going to be able to try to take different angles as Heesang does the rest. Not splitting their attention on the other side of where the London Spitfire was forced through that choke. Love the different off angles that we just saw right there from the Vancouver Titans.
So much patience as well. They waited for Landon's Immortality Field to be off of the table and then went in to push the blade. Like London Spitfire still tried. Like they had the teleporter, they had Admiral boot Sugar Free away, but it just wasn't enough, especially against a Genji that is as good and as clean as Sugar Free. The London Spitfire, they've got 2 fights ahead of them right now to be able to stop this cart, and that is 4 minutes that they get to work with here.
Oh, the initial damage right there, too. Sparker with the nade. He followed up with Hadi finding Crimzo, is able to now get Sugar Free. Crimzo went out with the window in hand, and with the snipe on the fire strike from Hadi, is going to be able to find Faith. Nice place here between Hadi and Sparker to now finally retake this defense.
Another attempt here, another slate of ultimates that Vancouver Titans can work up to. That amplification matrix is nice because it should be able to get like Punk and Heesang over the edge to actually have theirs online to follow through with for the rest of that fight. But London, I mean, like Hadi still has this Earth Shatter. Oh, the teleporter's out too. Playing barrier.
Oh, and right through that, here comes the Shatter. Gonna be able to isolate Crimzo and Heesang here. All the damage output followed up by Sparker and Backbone with that Photon Barrier play. That's another set of communication skills that we're seeing from the London Spitfire in communicating when to utilize that Photon Barrier, whether it be defensively or to allow you to play much more aggressively after the usage of the TP to put them into a better position.
That's why they're squaring up to each other. You saw a little bit of that touch and go where just kind of waiting for something to get used there. Backbone gets caught out immediately. This is going to be where Vancouver Titans need to start pushing this payload.
Oh, tries to cut them off on their more defensive rotation back, but they lose out on Crimzo immediately right after that. He can use up the immortality before Punk uses the Terror Surge, getting so much out of it. Goodbye to the backline, goodbye to the rest of the London Spitfire. You love the outcome from these Terror Surges from Punk, and that's the flexibility that we keep highlighting from the Vancouver Titans as they take game number 2.
Whew. Oh boy, I love this. I mean, Punk has always been such a fun tank to watch as well. This is not the first time that we've seen Punk get a 2-player Terror Surge. Something about the magic on this map though, it's like either London Spitfire's best friend, like when we saw the San Francisco Shock get 4 C9s on this map, or it's their own worst enemy, like losing to the Boston Uprising. Either way, Vancouver Titans, they make some great adjustments, Vicky, and now they are back in the series. We're tied up 1-1.
You'll have to see the outcome, too, between Sugar Free and Punk looking at the highlights right afterwards when he dropped down from the high ground right here into the Terror Surge, even staring right at the face of the window. He was able to pull everybody in away from that window from the Spitfire. You saw the Shatter as a much more defensive approach from Hadi to see if they could try to turn this fight around in this side room, but it was a recipe for disaster when Titans was also able to get set up on the high ground. Very similar to here, though. It's enabling from Faith to use that sound barrier, put Sugar Free into position to activate the blade after they lost out on Punk, who has been doing such a good job at buying in the space for the rest of the team here.
Vancouver Titans just have such clean team play as well. And maybe it takes a little bit for them to get privy to what the other team is doing. Like even when they were playing against the Shock yesterday, they came out with some funky strats, and Vancouver, yeah, okay, they tripped a little bit, they stumbled, but they were able to get back on their feet and figure it out. Now it's Spitfire's turn to be able to pick a map, and we're heading to New Junk City. Oh, I'm excited for this one.
I'm excited too, especially since it's been a little bit here for me, so I get to see Flashpoint all over again. It's been so enjoyable to watch the broadcast, but with New Junk City coming into play, we have to see the London Spitfire fight back. I mean, they are spitting fire here, so we have to see how Flashpoint plays out for them for map number 3, and that's coming to you on the other side of this break. Always got to feel that pump up before we dive into our third map. An even series on our hands between the Vancouver Titans versus the London Spitfire, playing for their literal tournament lives right now. Highlighting Sugar Free though. I mean, this has been a young legend that we have seen throughout all course of time, Necra. Saw him in contenders, we get to see him pop off throughout the course of this Overwatch League season, and he has yet to disappoint time and time again, highlighting his output here from that previous map onto Midtown, only dying 7 times here, but also splitting a lot of the attention from the London Spitfire when it came to his blades and taking away a lot of the utility that the London Spitfire like to rely on when it comes to these nice little cheeky tiki rotations alongside the immortality.
Sugar Free is one of the top Alarm Rookie of the Year candidates for a reason. This Genji always looks so good, and you can already see those micro adjustments that he's been making as well to wait for cooldowns to be offline and then go in for the kill. This was a great map for Vancouver Titans to get back into the series, and now we have to go over to Flashpoint and see how this is all going to shake out. London Spitfire thrive in a chaos-like environment, and I feel like when we look at Flashpoint, what else is there to call this but chaos?
Yeah, I feel like we usually see like New Junk City over by APAC, and going now over to New Junk City instead of our other Flashpoint map, Suravasa, I feel like it's always interesting to see how this plays into the strength of the Spitfire. We heard what they were talking about the Reinhardt pick onto Gibraltar and how it plays into their strength. Now looking here in New Junk City, how the terrain, especially starting off in the middle part of the arena, how that's going to work into their advantage.
New Junk City is a great map for London Spitfire to pick because it has some more wide open flashpoints versus Suravasa, and that allows for some trickier teleporter usage. So that has been one of the biggest assets that London Spitfire has been able to rely upon. And if you were to pick something like Suravasa, think about like how tiny Ruins is, how tiny Palace is. It's a little bit more predictable when it comes down to where you can actually use those. Or you're stepping off of the flashpoint entirely and not able to actually play around it lest you try shooting into a wall, for example. But both teams are going to come strong out of the gates here. London Spitfire are able to make it to the arena first, knowing that they've got the teleporter to close some of that distance. And they're going to actually keep... Ooh. Okay. Well, I guess London Spitfire get this point to start things off.
Well, when you have that TP like you mentioned, and you get to take a much more forward position, and you know their rotation's going to be through those side doors, the ricochet off the nade onto the wall too, and then being in close quarters inside that side room is just a recipe for disaster if you're the Vancouver Titans navigating a way through that choke. Now the Spitfire have been able to get set up here first. We know how volatile Flashpoint could be with how quickly you can claim this point.
Look at as well how London Spitfire gets to set up so much more defensively. Sparker is just able to sit pretty, shoot down those sight lines, and just deal significant chunks of damage to anybody walking through those doors. There are not too many points of entry that Titans can take where they're not limiting the amount of damage that they're taking. That's another reason why going over to New Junk City is so much better for the London Spitfire versus Suravasa. You just have less enclosed quarters that you could just hide behind the natural architecture of the map.
Yeah,
I gotta try to go against this again. They got one more chance.
Really good in covering a lot of these options. Good option coverage, backing away just in time from the window on the TP. Again, playing to their strengths here. Now Landon's got the window. He activates it right in their face while Punk is holding forward onto Hottie here. Having to be careful. Artillery online for Sparker, but right through that window, it's going to be able to just put down an onslaught of damage to the assault mode. Heason gets picked out, and they are able to claim that first point before we move on to the next one here.
And London Spitfire are going to chase these picks also before they realize that the flashpoint is actually in their favor right behind them. So they're going to be able to make that rotation just a little bit faster than the Titans to try to get back to that flashpoint. Well, also maybe, yeah, forcing out some cooldowns here from the Titans and also maybe getting a pick as well as they wait for all 5 members to be available. But let's head over to the junkyard where London Spitfire beating them to the point means that they can also get set up faster.
Just cutting away right through that wall. Here comes that photon barrier. Again, allowing them just to get set up for position. If it isn't even with the TP, it's with the photon barrier. Instead, the artillery was called in for piecing. Just clear up some extra space here, but Spitfire do touch that point first, do have that first advantage, and also try to fight for the high ground here, trying to isolate the back line. The window was called in, and Faith has that sound barrier. Crimso's able to answer right back, finding backbone, but Sparker continues to be the problem on the high ground while Sugar Free shuts down Landon with that blade. That sacrifice, well necessary here for the Vancouver Titans to now inch their way into evening out the scoreboard here.
Oh, they had to invest a lot into that fight, though. You saw 3 ultimates get used to be able to take control. But now Vancouver Titans, the shoes on the other foot, they get a chance to set up here and try to get that damage down while London Spitfire make their entry. But that's where the Symmetra becomes ever more important for London. They're able to use those teleporters to just close the distance, and they're already going to be back to the Flashpoint and forcing Vancouver Titans to have to come to them. What a big advantage for London to take advantage of.
And then immediately afterwards, they could just use a TP in the next 3 seconds and then just retaliate and try to find a sandwiching position around the Titans. The Immortality Field was already used up from Landon, though. Hadi's got that shatter as Sparker uses the artillery. Gonna be able to find anybody, but just clear up some extra space. He's about to have the artillery too. He gets it so quick, the terror surge, but the reaction from Admiral with the sound barrier, he was ready. Still too much damage from Heesang there. Calls in the artillery right after finding that first pick onto Admiral, only leaving Landon for the sustainability. Overtime ticking away in favor for the Vancouver Titans, but the London Spitfire do not give up the space. With that window, they are able to reclaim it. And the shatter in the side room finds both Heesang and Faith. It is a shish kebab, a feast that Hadi's gonna be able to eat, as well as the stall eventually before Crimson's gonna meet the rest of the Titans.
Yeah, just a big reset here because Vancouver Titans still have a comfortable amount of time to work with to come back in and get that point back. They already got 99% as well, so if they can win this next fight, then that Flashpoint is theirs, and we've got a real Flashpoint series on our hands. Sugar Free is so close to that Dragon Blade as well. So now if you're the Titans, you're hoping to use that blade, get out the Immortality Field from Landon. There's no sound barrier to worry about, and there might not be a teleporter to worry about either, but Backbone is ready just in case. He knows that blade is online.
And he would have the photon barrier for this next fight here too. There's that window from Landon, and Sugar Free moving in with the blade, waiting on the sound barrier to initiate, but playing so split apart. Admiral's the only one that gets picked off. Crimson doing the finishing blow. Overtime taking away the trade for trade as Vancouver Titans have the number advantage. Sparker needs to be dealt with. There was that photon barrier that we saw earlier, and Titans are able to at least reclaim this point this time around for now moving on to the next Flashpoint.
That almost worked out perfectly. You just saw that they were waiting for when Sugar Free popped the blade. You saw the Amp Matrix go down as well, and then London Spitfire said, yeah, okay, just hop in the teleporter. It's all good. Admiral unfortunately getting caught out there, so not able to save himself, and so that did shut off a lot of the mobility that London Spitfire could use. We're heading over to the refinery. A little bit more middle ground territory for both of these teams. Refinery, it's gonna get taken by the Titans first as they're able to make it over, but the Flashpoint isn't going to unlock quite yet as London Spitfire have a chance to turn the tides, just get behind them.
Yeah, they're so quick here too. The terror surge now from Plunk, the finishing blow coming in from Heesang. Hadi, the rest of London Spitfire get wiped out. And it's these impactful terror surges from Punk and the timing that is constantly meeting London Spitfire with the resistance that the Titans need to give when it comes to these flashpoints and how quickly that tick of that percentage goes down.
That timing has gotten better and better over the course of the series already. You can witness that in real time. Immortality Fields goes up, it's an immediate focus down for the Vancouver Titans so that Punk can get these terror surges. And it's also such a big disruption tool. That field pulls you in, and then Punk is able to make such good work of that. But London Spitfire back, and they always come back with a vengeance.
That TV got melted, deleted, artillery now moving on. Gonna be able to try to cut off the rotation. Punk was incredibly low, but not gonna be able to find those individual picks. You can just see that from a mile away. But look who's behind him! It was Heesang who went for the flank, finding Sparker with the lone tech nade that he just needed for reclaiming this high ground. Love the communication from the Titans to spread out and find Spitfire split up themselves without really expecting where that rotation from Heesang could have been.
It's like such a 50-50. Like either Heesang's flanks really work or they really don't. But when they do work, they work so well. That's going to be another Flashpoint capture here as the refinery goes over to the Vancouver Titans. And now we've got to go over to the bomb flats and see if London can tie this back up and bring us to that final Flashpoint. But it's a fight over the arena right now. As Vancouver Titans are just going to hold them at the door. They know that they've got a little bit of a closer distance to get to bomb flats.
The isolated Heesang right there. Sugar Free tries to be the insurance policy to maybe swoop in and help him out. Instead, he was collateral damage. Backbone Sparker, they clear out the Titans. And it's this part about Flashpoint that I really like. These TDM feel fights around these corners that now have allowed London Spitfire to take advantage over this next point.
Yeah, that's such a unique place to see two teams fight it out as well, because a lot of what we've seen from the early days of competitive Flashpoint has been just make your way over to the Flashpoint and then the fighting will happen. But this time around, like, Vancouver Titans saw an opportunity to just kind of take the fight to the Spitfire, and when they were holding him at the door, it like almost worked out really well. You know that they can start to make these different plays though when they've caught something like Punk's Terra Surge.
What? That timing right there, the fortify, and then the Terra Surge right afterwards. Punk, you're a madman. Immediately with the answer, the retaliation, the reaction right there was absolutely big. That was also a message sent right back to Hottie when he tried to utilize that shatter.
It really was though. You see that Punk is so focused. He's got like this stone cold face, and he's also still waving goodbye to the Spitfire after every single Terra Surge. Oh my goodness. He's already 25% to another one. London Spitfire, though, they're starting to run out of time to get themselves back into this Flashpoint map, but Sparker can open things up just like that.
With the artillery, too. You see this constant back and forth between Sparker and Heesang. So much damage being pumped out. The Titans cannot restabilize with losing out on Punk. They're trying to navigate away as Sugar Free now with that dash. Just going to be able to meet the rest of his teams back in the spawn as the London Spitfire are able to reclaim that point.
Titans can get back into this one though. Again, like, it's just such a give and take from both of these teams. It feels like another kind of high-level rock paper scissors, but this time around is about how they're using these ultimates and these abilities to really outmatch each other. London Spitfire holding a little bit more forward. They want to try to get as much damage down to the Titans as possible so that it allows them to be able to get in with this photon barrier. Backbone is so close, and that's really going to be the biggest difference here is that Backbone can get that online.
Artillery right behind. The window being put up. Punk finding Backbone here. We saw a mistake earlier from Admiral. Could it cost them? The sound barrier now called in. Gonna be able to retaliate with Faith and allowing Sugar Free with the blade in hand to try to find that impact. Does find Landon. Punk's about to get the Terror Surge once again. 89% in climbing in favor for the Vancouver Titans here. And can they finalize this point with only Admiral trying to come in? He gets booped away, inching forward, not even with the photon barrier. He can't go in. Vancouver Titans break the tie so far, taking New Junk City, leaving us 2-1.
Whew! That was another explosive map from both teams. This time, the Chaos is going to go the way of the Titans. And they, once again, have just showed time and time again how they can make these adjustments mid-map and really make it work in their favor. And now this is where I would start to get a little bit worried if you're a London Spitfire fan. This match has already gone on longer than the minimum. I know that sounds like the most brain-dead analysis ever, but like this is where Vancouver Titans can start to make such a big difference. If they prolong this match, they will start to figure out the London Spitfire, and it is already happening. This was London Spitfire's choice, and Vancouver Titans have had their number basically this entire map.
And that's why we keep seeing these map 5 situations with the London Spitfire. These teams have been able to make those adjustments, and with the Vancouver Titans being as flexible as they have been, especially looking from Punk's side of things, it's going to be really difficult here looking at the London Spitfire. If they can find a way to navigate, get a little bit more creative. I mean, with their TP strats alone, it's already as creative as we could see. Heesang went for another flank here, saved by the immortality field, so that way he could get pushed into that position. But I feel like what really costed the London Spitfire right there, especially at the very end, was Admiral holding forward and getting a little too aggressive, being that one pick that costed London Spitfire in that second to last fight. The Terror Surges, too, have been just on point here from Punk, and that's what costed Admiral's life, too, at the very end. We are moving on to New Queen Street. This is going to be the Spitfire pick. Excited to see how this push map goes, Necro.
I'm really interested in this pick as well, because this is one of those maps we've seen a lot of Doomfist on. So Punk could potentially bring out that pocket Doomfist that has been a big difference maker in these previous matches for them. Only time will tell, Vicky. Only time will tell if this is the right choice for the Spitfire to make. They are on a match point, and if they don't get this next map, they are going home and their season will end. So we're going to have to figure out what happens on the other side of this break.
Welcome back, everyone. Vancouver Titans sitting at match point while the London Spitfire are playing for their entire seasonal lives right now, Necra. Get to see the flexibility really shine through for the Titans, but also the survivability, especially after that Flashpoint map on New Junk City. Would love to highlight Faith specifically with that survivability. I think he only died twice in that previous game, but also it's these boops that he just comes in from left field. We saw at the very end, making sure that Admiral had no opportunity to touch and stall for as long as he can around his own team's photon barrier. We get to see some highlights here too.
I love that this is the player that we're highlighting because that is like your favorite thing to talk about is survivability of a player and how long that they are actually alive in the server. But it counts more because this is a main support as well. And Faith is one of those main supports I feel like has been kind of constantly underrated this season. A lot of it is we've got flex supports that are super flashy. They're the ones that are getting the picks and the kills. They're the ones that are like the pieces of their kit are just a little bit more memorable, noticeable, like nades or immortality fields. But Faith's Lucio has been so standout, especially when you're able to play together with the team. And like the sound barriers have been online at the perfect moments for the team as well. Just having that awareness and being able to call for these things is just so key.
I mean, in that map alone, looking at the other side of things, it's like night and day between Faith and those sound barriers, and then Admiral, unfortunately, holding onto those sound barriers for two very important fights. It was very unfortunate. He was getting very aggressive, kind of putting himself out of position in moments where London Spitfire would have really benefited off of just him helping out the rest of the team, even missing out on the TP one other time. Maybe that just being, New Junk City and maybe not coordinating as well as we usually see the London Spitfire coordinated around, kind of shining through in that moment.
Yeah, the teleporter call out when Sugar Free's blade is online, it's hard because he could have taken the teleporter and maybe that would have saved him from the Sugar Free blade and that fight could have played out differently. And especially yesterday, it felt like Admiral was making some very uncharacteristic mistakes when it came down to sound barrier usage. I just hope that this is one of those moments where Spitfire is able to center themselves and get their head back in the game. This is the team that has had a lot of fight and a lot of grit over the course of this season. Even when their backs have been against a wall, they've always come out trying to improve and having smiles on their faces. They're playing a composition that they know that they love. And hopefully this is going to be the map to do it on. Look, it's like they're manifesting their dreams right now over on New Queen Street where we're going for the playoffs. So this is very much do or die for them.
I know we've seen New Queen Street so many times, but being able to see the Toronto sign in the back, knowing what's on the line right now,
it's different.
It does hit different. It makes me so incredibly excited, especially seeing at the level of play that we're seeing right now. But can the lack of flexibility from the London Spitfire throughout the course of the season end up biting them despite finding this new breath of fresh air of success for this team to work into their strengths and their coordination with the Symmetra TP? This is the moment where it really does come down to see if London Spitfire could get ahead of it.
And that's why at the very beginning of this match, we called out that it comes down to, like, can the London Spitfire hit the cap that this Reinhardt composition can have? And is the series going to go on long enough that Vancouver Titans can figure it out? And it feels like we're starting to fall on the scale towards the latter. Where Vancouver Titans have had a lot of experience now to play against this team, and they're really starting to get it. Sparker's going to open this up with a big pick, though. Taking Crimzo out of the equation means that there's a significant source of healing offline, and Titans do not want to fight against this. They could get staggered, and that would be detrimental on a map like this.
You saw already with the way that Punk is positioning himself, too, just trying to find a different window.
Yeah, he's like, absolutely not.
You gotta wait on Crimzo, especially when it comes to that immortality field and having to deal with the aggressive positioning that London Spitfire put themselves in with these TPs. Looking around immediately got destroyed. Looking on the other side. Oh, there it is. The TP does get put online here for the rest of London Spitfire, but they're also just waiting patiently too, waiting to see if Titans want to actually contest this around the next corner.
It's nice to use that teleporter as a bit of a bait. If you are not sure if London Spitfire are going to go through it or not, then you can always wait to try to take it out. It still has that 10-second cooldown, so it does take a little bit for that to come back online, but already, like, London Spitfire kited around the Titans, it looks like we swapped sides of the map.
Wow, but the Titans calling that out amazingly with still the nade snipe. Finding Punk. Sparker is so good at finding these nade kills, cutting off different rotation attempts from the Titans. Again, I really do like that disengagement that we saw from them, but just as quickly as that bot had started moving, London Spitfire already able to get that first checkpoint, and Landon is going to be able to find Sugar Free.
That was a speed run. It has not been too many times that we have seen a team capture this first objective within 2 minutes. Like that is just impressive at this point, and it was all back of the snowball of London Spitfire opening this map up with a pick. Vancouver Titans have not been able to hold their ground because of how much aggression London Spitfire are playing this map with.
Oh man, backing away in that exact moment, calling the timing with that window called in from Crimzo. Just, he's saying try to get into position before trying to cut them off in the rotation around the next corner. Admiral's about to get that sound barrier. Here comes the artillery strike as well, coming in from the sky. The photon barrier from Backbone. Sparker, once again, finding the initial picks that the Spitfire need here. Yes, they get the trade as Sparker loses out his life, but now the Titans have to go for another reset while Spitfire have so much momentum.
I mean, this bot is already, like a quarter distance away from this final objective? Vancouver Titans have yet to win a team fight. It's gonna come down to Sugar Free getting this blade online. He's already half health though. He's taking damage from these Symmetra turrets. And London Spitfire still have the opportunity to use the Shatter. He sinks down his back.
Oh, the punish right afterwards. They saw that play, and they were expecting it again, playing spread out. It's Sugar Free with the punish, using the blade to their advantage. That TP strike into the Shatter shut down after they've already seen it in the first game. It's done and dusted. It's old news. Gotta bring some new tricks to the table.
Good stuff from the Titans. You gotta play a little bit predictive, and that's what London Spitfire was doing just to be able to keep the Vancouver Titans on their toes. You know, you go after it, kill after kill, you get those staggers, you keep putting on the pressure, but now the Titans are starting to get smart to it again. They still have a lot of ground to make up, but we still have 6 minutes of this map left.
Oh, Hadi with the pin onto Crimzo, who's gonna have the window for this fight. Landon used his earlier on the high ground, and with a finishing blow with the pin onto Punk. Another team fight win in favor for London Spitfire, who, by the way, are constantly so strong when it comes to being on these push maps versus what you've seen, the set history between the Vancouver Titans and... All right, there's the all chat. There's the all chat. They were quiet for a while, by the way.
They were a little quiet, weren't they? I mean, they did lose 2 maps in a row, and so I feel like that would take the wind out of anybody's sails, but it is a Spitfire. They're back up and running, and they know how to play that mental warfare game, especially when it comes down to these bastions as well. Let's go, Sparker. See what he's got.
Oh, Terror's all right. Clearing up even more space. Backbone is able to get the punish onto Punk, but no one is looking at Isang on the fact that Admiral's a jumping squad. Oh, Isang clearing out the Spitfire. All of them collapsed down. Admiral was trying to be the nuisance of a frog that he is, trying to dance around Isang, and he said, out of my way after I take care of the rest of your buddies.
Oh, that's amazing. That was almost an ace as well. That was so strong. And now Vancouver Titans get a chance to shut off those forward spawn zones again. And you still have 5 minutes of this map left. So Vancouver Titans absolutely can keep themselves in this game, but they've got to keep it up. Punk goes down again. He's just playing so far forward. The London Spitfire are just too strong in the front line.
Also, when it comes to communication, too, that photon barrier to help isolate Punk. As Landon also having to be careful inside this side room. Look who just came to the rescue like a superhero. Get down, Mr. President, was Hadi. Just going to be able to give him that backup. Moving forward, right alongside Admiral. Crimzo being on this high ground while Sugar Free activates the blade. Tries to slice and dice, playing spread apart though. Still has allowed Heesang to find Landon here. Crimzo is about to get that window. He has it online right now in Faith with the sound barrier himself. London Spitfire, they stayed alive, but just barely. They lost out on Landon. Admiral's still alive for now, and they get cleared up immediately right after I just say that. Crimzo dealing the final blow onto Admiral.
There you go. I mean, everybody on the Vancouver Titans has the ability to frag out. That is for sure, and they have each showed excellent examples of being able to do that, but now they've really just got to like put their nose to the grindstone because We are getting down to the 3.5-minute mark, and that's about where Vancouver Titans are going to want to try to get fight after fight. They still have to win 3 fights at least to be able to match the progress that the Spitfire are making. And Spitfire just have to play like keep away at this point. They don't need any more progress. They don't have to finish out the map. They already have a pretty sizable lead.
That's a pretty good point, especially if you have so much time right now and you're holding the Titans here. While Sugar Free does find Landon, and Faith has that sound barrier. Navigating away, Hottie's got that shatter ready too. Backbone goes out. Well, he's close to getting that photon barrier. He'll hold on to it for that next fight at the very least. And Adbro having to back away, playing still very aggressive at the very least, trying to help out Hottie, who gets punished immediately right afterwards. Sugar Free has been the thorn that they have to worry about, but it's all that extra credit that they desperately need right now after finally getting activation on the push bot.
Pushbot's gonna start to round this corner, but not before the London Spitfire are able to spawn back into this one. And again, like with the Symmetra, like you're just getting back into these fights so much faster. It's like yeah, it kind of looks like 3 fights here, but it might actually even be 4. Vancouver, though, they have another blade. They've got the Terra Surge, and even this Bastion could open things up so that they just walk into Punk's arms.
But even after that shatter, the follow-up was unfortunately just not there. He found 3 in the process, and then Crims was able to retaliate with the Immortality field. The artillery now from Sparker after they've already used the Immortality. Sugar Free gets caught in the side of Landon. He'll go down without being able to utilize that blade, and the Photon Barrier is called in from Backbone. He can't dance around it, though, pushing a little too far forward after getting isolated after this TP breaks. And he's saying cleaning up what is left of the team. Punk did try to go for that Terra Surge, but allowing he's saying to just profit off of everything that he was able to set up for him here.
Vancouver Titans are starting on their march towards victory. Even though London Spitfire were able to grab 90 meters plus, like Vancouver already halfway there. So 2 more team fights under their belt, they should be good. Oh, Sugar Free, you can see like it's all turrets, it's all mayhem. But Titans have to back up from this one because of how quickly London Spitfire can get back in. Oh, Ant Matrix 2?
Oh, the Ant Matrix, the blade here on top of it, but you lose out with a huge nade ricochet onto Crimzo and Heesang. The follow-up from Backbone, clearing out 4 of those members from Titans. It's going to be another team fight win from the London Spitfire.
That Bastion grenade. Oh, that got like Omega buffed coming into this patch, and it's still as strong as ever. That ability is so good. And if you're able to land that even onto like 1 person, like you're squishing them enough that Backbone can kind of do the rest with the turrets. Another fight though. London Spitfire moving forward past that halfway point.
Sound barrier.
Faith with the sound barrier.
Yeah, just to initiate right here too. Put the Titans into position. Faith has just been so on point with the timing and the communication right here. The trade was there briefly as Backbone was able to find Crimzo. He'll come back in with the window, but this is going to be a team fight win for the Titans, flipping the bot right back into their favor.
This is rough though, because they have less than 30 seconds and Titans still have to win 2 more team fights to be able to match that progress. So London Spitfire gets to come back into this one with an aggressive sound barrier of their own if they choose to. As Heesang's going to try to keep them at bay with their own ultimate. Sparker just has a chance to be able to fire right back.
All right, Admiral, don't get scared of Ajaxing. It's okay if a PTSD. No! The first pick in favor for the Titans. That was the win con that the Spitfire needed right there to work off of. And now Heesang gets the profit. Yes, the pin lands onto Faith. Overtime taken away. It's very doable here with the Spitfire having much more progress. Punk is still on this bot. Sparker can't meet up with them. But is this going to be a steamroll at this point? They need to stay on this bot. They cannot leave.
Oh, this is so rough too. I mean, they got the checkpoint. Oh, he's saying got the far spawn though, so you're gonna be coming back out on the Sombra. Hope that a hack is gonna be enough, but it's a full slate of ultimates here for London to be able to keep themselves in this game. Mickey, they need this map to keep their hopes alive for this series.
Oh, the Terror Surge isn't gonna get that profit that you wanted, especially right through that photon barrier as Sparker finds Punk and Sugar Free. The punish, nobody left from the Titans to keep this overtime ready, and the London Spitfire get to see another day, taking map number 4 on New Queen Street.
Oh, Vancouver Titans made that competitive though. After London came out of the gate swinging, I was very stressed out there for the Titans, but they were able to get that into 1 fight territory. And this series has been so close. It is a nail biter, and it is going to be a photo finish to see who gets a chance to move on in this series, keep their dreams alive, and go up against the Toronto Defiant waiting in the wings for them.
I was expecting this to go all the way to a map number 5 character, and I'm so happy that I am not disappointed here. I am being provided some great Overwatch action. Taking a look at some of these highlights, I just want to point out again, I'm hyping up Faith so much because, like Necra says, I love seeing the survivability rates here depending on the different maps and the different heroes that we have, but he died once, Necra. He died once that entire game while still was able to get over 20 elims or so. He was playing incredibly passive-aggressive, but it's enabling Heesang to get these insane opening picks there that we constantly keep seeing. London Spitfire, though, having the progress that they had at the very beginning, that double right there with the nade was beautiful. But that progress at the very beginning, especially on push, was so detrimental to take that dub for the Spitfire.
It is going to be so close, and Titans don't have too many escort picks that they can make at this point that might be fully in their favor. We're gonna have to find out what they end up picking, but every single time we've even gone over to things like Gibraltar, London's like, hey, we could still play the Reinhardt here. Can they get tricky enough, or Vancouver Titans gonna make the final adjustments they need to put the nail in the coffin? It's 2-2. We're going to map 5 after this.
Welcome back, everyone. London Spitfire tied the series 2-2 versus the Vancouver Titans, as both of these teams are fighting for their tournament lives for the season. It all comes down to this. Map number 5 on Escort. We are going on to Circuit Royale.
The pressure has never been higher for a singular map win. because both of these teams are so close. This is the final hurdle before Toronto Defiant in front of them and a shot at the playoffs. But Circuit Royale, there really weren't too many choices that you could make on Escort that I felt like were a perfect choice for the Titans to make. But Circuit Royale sure is the one that was at the top of my mind. But even then, like, we've seen London Spitfire come out with this Reinhardt composition when no one else would. Like, Gibraltar, Circuit Royale, whenever we've looked at these maps, we've gone, oh yeah, like, okay, easy Sigma double sniper composition. That has not been the case for quite some time now when we've taken a look at the Overwatch League this season.
Just laughing at the idea of Hottie saying
Reinhardt really good on
cowards.
this one. Reinhardt's really good on this one. This is a great map for Reinhardt. Sig really good here too. Go Sig and see what happens. I don't think they're gonna do it. Then they're not. They're not. Like, Vancouver too. Riss has been such a strong choice for them. Punk has been absolutely popping off on these Terra Surges, and the entire team as a whole has been just getting better and better as a unit to deal with this Reinhardt comp. But you can feel the confidence. Like, London Spitfire are just confidence right now. And confidence is key in matches like this.
And that's all part of the mind games when it comes to feeling confident enough to talk all in all chat. The nice TP onto the higher ground and counter rotate behind the Vancouver Titans. Playing spread out though, they've already noted that. Retaliating and setting up the turrets by the stairwell, rounding around the other side of the payload, trying to also isolate Punk over to the left side. Not going to be able to find those picks that they really wanted, as Punk does fall low for right now. The Immortality Field was called in from Crimzo just to help him out, stay in that upward position, but it's not going to be enough at the very end. With Punk going out, Sugar Free finally puts himself involved in the fight. He wrapped around, he was on the high ground originally. We did see him earlier on, and it actually just cost them. With London Spitfire TP strats actually paying off here, that first choke point.
What's really tough about the composition that Titans is running is that it requires a ramp up. There are very few times that you'll see just a first frag. And a lot of where the Titans find success is when they're able to get value from their ultimates. So the Dragon Blade, usually when Sugar Free pops that, it's like 2 to 3 players. Or you see the Sound Barrier to get aggressive. But London Spitfire, like, this is a patient game for them, and the longer these fights go on, the more often they end up being in their favor. Like, Faith is so low already, but London Spitfire, look how much damage they're doing before, like, Vancouver Titans feel strong enough to step up to the plate.
Ooh. These nades.
That was so much damage.
So cheeky, and the Immortality Field helping out Landon there too. A window to the soul, but nobody wants to peek just yet. While Backbone tries to rotate from the side, he sets up the TP. The Photon Barrier is also ready. Sugar Free though, falling incredibly low, does get saved by Fate, and the timing of that Sound Barrier. Same on the other side from Admiral, saying that Hottie wanted to get a lot more aggressive. Tries to pinpoint Faith and Crimzo. The backline get deleted, and it's just lights out as this London Spitfire get to take another team fight.
Another Photon Barrier to split up the team as well. Not only are you shutting off the damage, you're also shutting off the healing. Ride map, by the way. I think London Spitfire has shown us that a few times here, but it's again like trying to get in the heads of the Titans. This is a team that has to be formidable in these moments, though, and now Titans do have ultimates online to work with, like Sugar Free's Blade, that can really just be outstanding amounts of damage.
Saw Hottie drop from the high ground for right now. We're trying to catch Tess off that slight low ground with Sugar Free now. With Dash comes in with the Blade ready. Takes care of the Immortality Field. The follow from Punk 2 just in case. Sugar Free profits with the Blade and the Terror Surge. Rather expensive fight here for the Titans, but it needed to be done considering the progress that Spitfire have already gotten with 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock.
Strong dynamic duo of ultimates there. We're gonna have to figure out a name for that one. Terra Dragon?
Terrorblade?
Dragon Surge? That sounds great, actually. I'm about to call that a Dragon Surge right there. Regardless, that was a fantastic use of ultimates there from the Titans, just to, like, you know, pull them into Sugar Free's Blade and really force the London Spitfire to have to get creative in terms of how they engage this. The Immortality Field's already out here for the Spitfire.
Having to save Sparker, who went with the rest of the London Spitfire to go for a nice flanking position, but Vancouver Titans, once again, have already seen this play out. It's playing a little spread out on each angle underneath that hilltop, but they gave up the high ground positioning as Hadi's gonna be forced to drop down. Backbone finishing off Hisang. Vancouver Titans still playing very patiently above the apex of this hill. And Sparker's gonna be able to call in the artillery, try to block out their rotation out through that choke, but Vancouver Titans were quick with it, already backing up in time.
Nice creation of space. Artillery strike probably not going to pick up that many kills. More often than not, it's just a zoning tool to help push the team back. For an Earth Shatter.
Oh, from the Earth Shatter to the pin. Hadi is eating. Definitely spitting something out here. It's the fire for the nades from Sparker finding Punk and Sugar Free. He gets these all the time, Necra. Sometimes it's always so cheeky. You can't help but feel cheesed out. But I know that Spitfire are absolutely cheesing after getting the second point.
Hadi never cheeses. Only when Danny calls him Chadizzle.
Oh, psychological warfare from Talkin in that chat. Right through the window, Sparker. And through that TP on the other side are able to engulf the Titans. Sugarfree losing out as he had that blade ready. Punk is the next to go out. So they're going to want to hold on to this plethora of ultimates here for this next fight because Spitfire, with 3 minutes, less than 12 seconds now on the clock, are rounding through that checkpoint.
You can tell how good they're feeling after that win on New Queen Street as well. It was very touch and go, but London Spitfire are able to get the better of the Titans and bring themselves back into a map 5. Like, you could see them typing in all chat. That's always such a good indication of how they're feeling for a match. And they're playing so much better together as a unit as well. They're not going to fall victim to Hisang's mortars. They're just going to play this patient, force Titans to have to come to them.
At least getting some extra space if you can work with it as Punk comes in with the jab spin, the blade from the sound bear to help enable Sugar Free get the 3K that he wants. The Mortality Field's perfect right there as he finishes off with a 4 kill in his name. Crimzo also putting himself on the board with a team fight win to help stop the London Spitfire in that momentum.
I am proud of Admiral using the sound barrier there. At the very least, it's an attempt, and you still have other things to work with, especially when London Spitfire have made so much progress on this cart. You're really just looking for an opening pick to keep that momentum flowing. And there it is. Faith is down.
Oh, wow. Getting the first pick onto Faith. Huge. Here comes that Terra Surge. The Immortality, though, helping everybody out thanks to Landon, but then the retaliation after losing out on Landon and Hadi. 2 huge picks as Sparker moves in with some help from Backbone. Love the Bastion little chuckle after he gets the pop off and is on fire. London Spitfire have only lost 2 fights, by the way, which is crazy to see this progress and them disengaging with the timing to wait out on Hadi, who came back after dying 3 times in total so far.
Hey, you gotta win some. You gotta lose some to win some. You know, 2 steps forward, an Earth Shatter at your back. But he's not going to be able to land it onto anybody right now, but the Photon Barrier invested here too. London Spitfire hoping this is going to be enough in the tank to sink it over the line.
Even right through the eyes of a Fortify here from Punk. Even negating the output from that Shatter and what he could have gotten here. Punk makes the swap over to the Doom desperately as the Spitfire are nearing the end currently on this push. Here comes Punk. The rest of his team is out and the Spitfire are able to take this payload to the finish line with a good amount of time to spare. I mean, I got less than a minute, got 53 seconds, but hold back just a little bit before re-engaging altogether, timing the way that this team wanted to approach the Titans in these choke points.
Ride map, by the way, is what Backbone would like everybody to know. Oh, man. Yeah, this is rough. Titans do not look confident right now. And when you look at a map by scenario with so much on the line, keeping your season, your playoff streams live, confidence can really be everything to be able to keep the wind in your sails, keep the momentum fresh, and just keep yourselves playing strong. And Titans right now, they just look like they're faltering a little bit. Like, they weren't able to keep themselves on their feet. You see, like, the Backbone teleporter, the Shatter from behind. Nobody is prepared for that. Like, what do you do in those moments to look behind you?
Oh,
like,
man.
even if you're ready for it, how do you escape?
back into the finishing blow while everyone is so fixated on what's happening with Hadi. Going right behind him with a flank shatter using the TP and then just allowing Sparker to be enabled right after that. Beautiful looks here while we get set up in our next round.
Vancouver Titans need to finish the map. That is what is at stake right now. If they don't finish, that's it. Their season is over. But Titans, being on the attack, might be able to keep that same aggression moving forward. I mean, Midtown was a pretty big role for them as well. They're able to secure that victory in a very easy fashion. So it's all about being able to do that again. And he's saying off to such a good start.
Oh, he's definitely singing. Sugar Free with the finishing blow, getting a 3K on top of it. What a way to open things up. So volatile for the Vancouver Titans.
Vancouver Titans off to a great start. I mean, look at this. Okay, usually it's always the BAP ultimate that comes up first. He's sending us right behind Crimzo. That Bastion ult is going to be online so much faster than I think London Spitfire will even be prepared for. Especially if you see this Amp Matrix go down from Crimzo, then all of a sudden, like, you've got the ult.
Oh, Faith!
Faith? Wait, was that a boop off the side?
Offered to the side. Meanwhile, Punk holding forward with the jab spin, pushing everybody alongside Faith, disrupting the peace from the London Spitfire. It's just a matter of time before the reset happens. It's another team fight win.
Oh,
we get to see the replay right through the side of the fence. Hasta la vista, Tad, bro, and Backbone. Love that replay that we got to see from Faith. And look at what they're working with Necra. There's so many ultimates online after Landon had used that window, being the sole ultimate that the Spitfire had available to them in that moment.
Yeah, they haven't needed anything yet. They might not need to. If they can keep getting picks like that, then who cares about whether or not you use the ultimate? Titans don't have a lot to lose, though. I mean, go ahead and throw everything that you want at this next fight. If you're able to get this over that second line, then, hey, you are looking so good. And they have so much time to work with. Like, now it's the shoes on the other foot. London Spitfire, the onus is on them to try to stop this. And they got a lot of bleeding to stop right now.
I really like that wait on the last shot of the artillery. Just so that way, Punk can get enabled to hold forward while the Spitfire back up. Trying to wait out on the space that the artillery could build up for them. Sing taking an off angle while the rest of the Titans round around this next corner. Looking at Hadi, who's about to get that shatter online. Admiral has a sound barrier. Can it be a successful sound barrier at that after what we had seen in that previous round? We have to wait and see. The immortality had already been used by Crimzo, and the sound barrier was called in first. Here comes the blade from Sugar Free, enabling him thanks to Faith and sound barrier. He gets shut down by Sparker, but don't worry, on the other side, Faith's got your back alongside Punk having the Terror Surge. It's another team fight win. Vancouver Titans have not been stopped since they got this payload moving.
You're hoping now for London Spitfire that they are able to actually stop this payload. Like, they got ultimates to use, and they have to use them now. That was an eco defense for them, I guess if you want to call it that. Like, Vancouver Titans had to use everything that they had in order to actually capture that second point, but it's time for London Spitfire to go.
Oh, right now with Hadi trying to dance around that photon, now moving forward, isolating Punk. There's the Spitfire absolutely going, and not just that, finally halting the Titans with the momentum that they had off the rip in this round.
It would have been a big problem if London Spitfire could not win that fight, especially when they had ults to spare. And Titans here, they don't really care about a team fight loss. What they're looking at right now is accumulating enough ultimates to be able to push their way through this third point. Once you get stopped at this third point, it can be very difficult to actually finish the map. So you need all the firepower that you can. Just force out what you can out of the London Spitfire.
Wow, what timing right there too from the shatter after the immortality had been used from Crimzo in that moment. So I had to take in already some damage on top of the follow-up from the London Spitfire, holding back the Titans once again, staring at their face when they exit out of the spawn room doors.
And now this is what Titans want. And they've already got the Earth Shatter out. Now it's about time that they force out the beat, the amplification matrix. One of the ways to do that is definitely Heat Saying Salt. See if you can force out the barrier here from Admirable.
Well, they did force out that immortality right there. On both sides, that is. Backbone finding Faith, who has been a huge staple for the Titans, especially in this round, now going out while he could be building up that sound barrier for the next fight, but it's a good stall favor for the Spitfire to at least work with what they've already seen as expensive usage of these ults, holding back the Titans in this choke point. Sugar Free does have that blade ready, but has to wait to see if Faith could come right back in with the sound barrier.
That is another ultimate that they've gotten out of Spitfire's back pocket. So let's go. Aggressive beat.
Oh, aggressive beat, and they saw that they already used up the immortality, but doesn't want to overextend, actually just waiting. With that beat used up from Titans, that's one all off the table that Spitfire have to worry about here. The TP set up, while the Terror Surge from Punk stuffs them in their shoes, gets a 4K real quick. Might as well be a 5K with Sugar Free getting that last blow onto Hadi.
And now you still have this blade to try to push this payload all the way to the finish line and bring us into extra rounds. Titans, they can do this. They can finish the map. They still have 2.5 minutes remaining as well, but London Spitfire are able to clap back with ultimates of their own. Sugar Free has got to get this blade, and it's got to be a fat one.
Stays diving through, activating the blade as Hadi tries to go around the other side of the photon barrier. No way to slice and dice this, though, as he's also able to find Landon. Sparker with their artillery did fight Crimson. We see some trades happening with Ethan going out and Sugar Free meeting him right back, but the difference that we are seeing right now with Faith coming in, isolating Admiral, who was standing on that point just to stall as long as he can. Immediately with the backup from Faith, just gonna taxi Punk right to the arms of the rest of the Titans because they got some time to work with.
They still have 2 minutes remaining, so that's plenty of time for Titans to get more ultimates online. I mean, look at this. Punk just used the Terror Surge to be able to get that 2K. Now he's only 30% away to another one. And when you are still working with a healthy time bank, like, you're okay. You're feeling all right now. Titans have nothing to worry about until it gets to 2 more fights.
Shatter not gonna find the output that they was looking for here. Punk just waiting for it. The window, though, doing just enough of the damage to take care of Hadi. Faith going out, though. He was so quick to get that, almost that sound barrier online, but goes out at nearly 80%. Here comes another Terror Surge from Punk, trying to bring everybody into him with the immortality field that was used up from Crimzo. The Titans, though, playing spread out right behind the payload, having to back away just in time. The Spitfire were feeling some of that pressure, but with fun room doors being right behind them, were able to just retaliate just as quick.
This is exactly why this third point can be so difficult to assail. And Titans now, like, they're sub 1 minute. They need to be able to get these ults online. At least they're getting this amp matrix out of London Spitfire. And that's going to leave London with a few less tools to work with. But Titans, they have to get these ultimates back online. The sound barrier is going to be critical. You're going to want to use that aggressively. But Spitfire can hold themselves at the door here, especially knowing that the photon barrier is online. If Spitfire's stop them here, like, this is over. This is Titans' last chance. They need to win 2 of these team fights in order to actually take this into extra rounds.
Oh.
Hadi's down.
Hadi going down.
Here's the window.
Fighting for their tournament lives right now. And the tank is gone. The photon barrier comes in. The artillery as well from Sparker. Faith had used up the sound barrier, but they find the trades and Sparker fights. He's in. Sugar Free moves in with the blade. They are out from their backline, and he's still able to find Sparker in the side room, while Punk doesn't have the sustainability. And Spitfire, the spawn room doors right behind them, allow them to re-engage. Overtime ticket away. Only a pixel of health ends the run for Sugar Free in that moment. The pop-off, the smiles. London Spitfire take map 5, our final game, sending the Vancouver Titans packing.
What a season that the Titans have had, though. This was a team that people had kind of written off a little bit at the very beginning of the season. Everybody didn't expect too much coming out of that roster. But over the course of the season, it just got better and better, and Titans proved to be such a formidable force, especially after we saw so much flexibility from them. And so, sadly, their run ends here, but the Spitfire, they get to live to see another match. And that was a close one, Vicky. They had to earn that win. They did not make that easy.
How are they gonna keep doing this to me, Necra? Literally just playing with my heart. Always in a game.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a sometimes tough to be a Spitfire fan, that's for sure. They make you work for that one too if you're a fan. But hey, listen, it worked out this time. And now they do have to get through another behemoth of an opponent. That is going to be the Defiant that is waiting on the other side of this one. But we do have a player of the match to discuss, and that is going to be none other than, of course, one of that dynamic DPS duo, and that is Sparker.
Sparker had so many beautiful moments. This part in particular was my favorite. Elevating yourself right after that nade into actually being able to transform into assault mode, putting yourself in such a good position. But just to highlight how he had so many important first picks to start these engagements from the London Spitfire. The double with the nade, I said it beforehand on the podcast, sometimes when you die that, it just feels so cheesy. But the coordination, while Hadi goes in for a flank route to get the shatter done, the Titans have seen it being done before, but then terrorizing your front line, it's Sparker, that's right there, who is always ready.
Even when there's a deflecting Genji in your face, you're just like, I don't care. I'm gonna shoot you anyway. And believe in the backline to be able to keep me alive. And Sparker just had such a sizable chunk of that damage. Even though this is just gonna be stats for Circuit Royale, Sparker was showing up big time and time again, especially when you look at how many of those like nade kills he was even able to get with the Bastion. Bastion, hey, we've looked at it before, and sometimes if in your rank game, you're like, ah, that's a throw. But this time around, when Bastion's gotten that buff, it is such a key centerpiece, not only for the amount of damage coming through from the Spitfire, but just the strategy as a whole. And Sparker makes it look easy.
I think he had like 21,000 damage throughout the course of that entire map, and then had 44 elims and 19 final blows. Heesang was nearing right behind him, but again, it was those very important picks from Sparker that helped allow the rest of Spitfire to stay as cohesive as they did with these TP strats. I always love seeing the way that they can coordinate. It's always an enjoyable time, Necra. I know the desk was feeling split at the very beginning, but I know that they could rejoice after seeing the outcome from the London Spitfire with another nail-biting series from this team. I know you guys are feasting. Desk, take it away. Tell us your thoughts.
Full bin.
Clean one. Let's walk. He dies. Nice. Special maybe.
Nice, boys.
Nice. Holy fuck,
Nice,
Ollie. Jesus Christ, nice shit, bro. So fucking close. No.
Never in doubt, baby. Right?
Let's go, Daddy.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I feel like there was
Jake
some
is
doubt moments.
cursed. Cursed.
I don't care. I follow my brain to the end, no matter how many times I'm
How
wrong.
many predictions are you? Did you?
I think I might be in last place now. It's not looking good.
I think I'm still on top, so I don't think.
No, I think we're about tie.
You guys are tight. We'll
I
have to see.
feel like
We'll have
I'm
to see.
above you. I guess we'll find out. We're gonna run the math, run the numbers. For now, the only thing we need to know is that London Spitfire clutched it out. What a back and forth. Fantastic performance from both of those teams. Of course, we want to, get down into the nitty gritty and dissect the match in its full glory. But also, we do want to chat to the winner. So, we have an interview ready. Backbone is standing by. First things first, huge congratulations for that massive W.
Oh, I don't think we hear you. Backbone, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We got you. All right. We're gonna make this quick because I know you have another match against Toronto Defiant very soon. So I'm gonna start off by just asking you. It was a very close match, but you guys got it done. You guys got the victory. So what was the key to victory today against the Vancouver Titans today for the London Spitfire?
Just play our game, play better Overwatch than them. Really, it's not that deep, to be honest.
Nice. Better Overwatch.
I respect it. And I'm going to let you go. We'll make this quick, but I want to know, you're going up against the Toronto Defiant next, a team that plays a very unique style. Not a style like your own, but they're like you guys in the sense that they've carved their own path to playoffs. How do you see that matchup going, and are you confident going up against the Defiant?
I'm pretty confident. Us and Toronto have been scrimming basically every day this week. So I think we both have a good read on how the other plays, so I think it'll be a fun game to watch and play.
Right on, and a better team will come out on top. We can't wait to see that happen, and it's just a few minutes away, so we're gonna let you get back to your team for a huddle. We can't wait to see you back on the server. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Backbone from the London Spitfire. They will get ready for their next opponent. We will head into a quick break, and afterwards we're going to talk about Toronto Defiant and London Spitfire. the London Spitfire are one step closer to the playoffs, and you know who's waiting there for them. That's right, Atlanta Reign. They're chilling in a new Wicked Moira skin, of course, and you too can pick yours up. It's on sale in our shop right now. What a great look. And speaking of great looks, that is what we got to see from both teams, which just played for their playoffs, or playing live rather. London Spitfire got closer. The Vancouver Titans unfortunately fell. But what a performance. Let's take a look at some of those highlights, because there were plenty of moments in this series where it looked like Vancouver Titans might be the one coming out on top.
You know, I think Faith, for me, was a real highlight for the Titans, a player to watch, tons and tons of boop kills. And on the other side, Admiral as well, finding his opportunities to get aggressive. I will say for the Spitfire, Admiral was having a bit of trouble against this comp. The Bastion Genji put so much pressure on your front line and your back line at the same time. It's very hard on Lucio to keep up with that.
Yeah, Admiral had a bit of a tough game, and I think in general, the London Spitfire, even though they win this matchup, I still don't think they played their best. I think there were some mistakes from London Spitfire in this one. I mean, Hadi, for example, in the very final point on Circuit Royale, for example, Hadi doesn't take the teleporter with his team and gets picked off and opens up the door for the Vancouver Titans. So I think throughout this entire series, London Spitfire did get away with the win, but I do think they can play better than this. So interesting now they get a chance to reset and, of course, face the Toronto Defiant in their next game for an opportunity to participate in the playoffs. But I don't think they played their best game, and so I think they might even come into the Toronto series playing better. You know, they really got going here on push, especially. Very good start for the London Spitfire early. If they can channel this kind of energy, they're a force to be reckoned with. So London Spitfire, a bit up and down in this one. Vancouver Titans, though, still put up a really good fight. And then, as you said, it still looked like Vancouver Titans were going to win it. We're just a second there.
You know, I think Vancouver Titans, sure, they lost to the London Spitfire, but, you know, I just want to say they did a fantastic job just throughout the whole season overall. It was just so entertaining to see them. And even for this match, too, like, they had the Doomfist comp ready for the first match. Just overall, I think everyone, like you said, Faith had an amazing series as well. I think Heesang really, you know, popped up as well. And Sugar Free was amazing on that Genji. Everyone really popped up, but it just was a little bit short compared to the London Spitfire. And that one was a hard one. I remember we were watching it in the back. We're like, all right, yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt.
Admiral was in this tough position that just like, oh, he didn't use beat and he lost his team in the fight, or like he used beat and sometimes lost the team in the fight. So really it's a tough spot to be in. Sorry, I interrupted you, Danny.
No, I just want to say, just Vancouver did a fantastic job. We love you guys. Thank you for an amazing season.
I will say with the Orisa in the game, it's very hard to play Lucio against that. You've got a lot of potential to get stunned out of your beat, not by kills from Genji, but by just getting speared by Orisa, or even just spun into the air and kept off the ground so your beat doesn't come down in time and someone else kills you.
Very tough role.
So I think it's a tough spot for Admiral. And I'm agreeing with you guys. I really think the key to victory versus Defiant is going to be these aggressive TP plays.
Yeah.
You know, coming in from these unexpected angles with Bastion, using the sim wall really well. It's going to be these inventive aspects of their game. They're going to give them a chance here. However, I'm kind of worried about their ability to play against Surmajet's Iliari. I think that Captive Sun ultimate has been inconsistent in most matchups, but the Rhine comp, its tendency to stick together, to kind of hold down certain positions, you are very vulnerable to getting flanked and hit with like a 5-man Captive Sun and just popped as a team. I mean, that can be really, really an Achilles heel of the Rhine comp.
Absolutely. Well, London Spitfire can go again. They're going up against Toronto, and we will see if they can make it all the way over to Canada. But first things first, we do want to say goodbye properly to the Vancouver Titans. Danny, I think you summarized that really well already. Vancouver Titans have been phenomenal all season long. What a way this team came, but now
out
it is time to fare thee well, Mary Jens from the land of Vancouver.
What is this?
The grass.
The grass is greener on the other side, I guess, but I don't know. Yeah, we bid them, of course, better fortunes in greener pastures. Unfortunately, they have to join the other teams out there.
This looks like the field that Bastion wakes up in the cinematic. It's like Numbani over there on the horizon.
Numbani on the horizon.
Well, but again, Vancouver Titans, I mean, phenomenal performance across the board from all those individual players. We have nothing bad to say about that team and can't wait to see what's in store for all of these talented players. And the Oryx social media manager out there, like, been killing it all season as well. So a big shout out. Kept us entertained from feeding bread to the people to all of this.
Oh, man.
So we're thrilled. We're happy. We're entertained. And more of that will happen after a quick break as we're getting ready for our last match of the day.
Bye.